This segment of Naperville Sports Weekly is brought to you by the Daily Herald.
Here at Naperville North with Heather Schild, head coach of the girls badminton team. Thanks for joining me.
Absolutely. Pleasure.
A lot of smiling faces, a lot of girls here as well. You guys have a pretty big team.
We do. We try to always build our team, and we like for all the girls to have a home too. And I think a lot of people find a home here at Naperville Badminton, so we try and deliver, even though we have 8 courts to practice on.
It feels like the atmosphere is fun, it's light. Is that what you strive to achieve?
Yes. I think that this group of girls especially is a group that's in a lot of AP classes. They are some of the most intelligent people at the school. A lot of them play musical instruments outside of school or draw or paint or do a lot of other kinds of training. So I want badminton to be an outlet for the girls, and I want to keep it light. We saw what happened with the Cubs when they kept it light all season, so I like to take a page out of that book.
This early in the season, what kind of things are you focusing on as a coach?
Right now, we are trying to get our lineup established, but we're also spending time doing conditioning with the upper level especially, and fundamentals with our lower levels. We spend a lot of time on fundamentals and injury prevention through teaching strong fundamentals, and then by the time we get up to the varsity level, it's more about they've got that down. So we want them to be able to maintain strength on the court, cardio strength and physical strength, so it becomes a conditioning game too. So we go pretty hard with conditioning because that's, in my opinion, that's what wins you the big games. When you have to go and play in a split, and a split at very high levels of points each game, you can't do that well if you're not, a strong player in terms of cardio strength.
What fundamental-wise do you work with the lower class? Is it shot selection, footwork as well?
I would say it's a lot of footwork. I think any freshman coach would tell you, what's the one piece of advice that you always give to your girls when you talk to them in between matches, and it's move your feet. Like, you have to move around the court, and you have to not hit the bird right back to the middle of the court. Those are 2 things we always talk about. So some of it is that footwork around the court, but it's also how to hold the racket properly, how to swing correctly, how to hit a drop shot from the front, from the corner, how to control where the bird actually lands. And that's a lot of very nitpicky kinds of things that the coaches work with specific girls on. Yeah. And a lot of it is, like I was saying, about injury prevention. If you're not swinging correctly as a new player, then you're going to develop a bad habit that's going to create some problems for you down the road.
So you've had 10 years now at Naperville North coaching. Over that time, have you developed kind of this routine where you know now where your athletes need to be and what you'd like to see from them?
Yes and no. I think the beginning, middle, and end of the season, there's always things that come along with it. And there's always approaches that I try to take. But it also is a lot on the personality of the girls. Like, are they a head case on the court? Are they a person who really needs to be talked up? Are they a person who thrives on a team environment? Or is it someone who really gets hard on herself? And those are things that you have to kind of feel out each day. Does it need to be a fun practice today because everyone's freaking out about something? Then we do that.
Now you have players that go from singles to doubles, doubles to singles. Claire is one of those. What's that difference like for a player?
I think a lot of it is about the communication. It's funny because some girls are really strong singles players because they can talk themselves out of a situation or talk themselves up or have the capacity to really reflect in between the points on their own. Whereas then with doubles, you can't just be in your head the whole time. You have to figure out what your communication structure looks like with your partner. And we tell them, you have to connect with your partner some way in between every single point, whether that's eye contact, whether that's high five, whether that's whatever your secret language becomes with your doubles partner, you have to figure that out. And then be able to switch that off and do that for yourself in singles. It's hard. That's hard.
Team dynamic wise, it's a kind of an individualistic sport because you're obviously on the court by yourself or with your partner in doubles. But as a team, is there a leadership structure that takes place?
There is. We have captains, and all the captains are on varsity. They always lead the stretches, they always lead the warm-up, they lead footwork, they do fun things like host pasta parties and things like that. But then there's always, the kind of de facto leaders on each level. We also have managers who are a blessing. They've really stepped up, especially this year, and taken a lot of ownership over just the details that have to get done. So there seems to be a job for everybody, and it's worked out well that way. Mm-hmm.
Now I want to talk about the fun rivalry that you guys have with Neuqua Valley. They've surged in recent years. You guys have had a lot of success as well. Is it fun having that local rival to go back and forth with?
It is. I'm a dorky English teacher, but they're like our foils, if I want to use a literary term. We come from a similar background, we come from a similar place, and that's why we agitate each other so much, because it's like looking in a mirror for a lot of the girls. They train with these girls off season, they know these girls. Like one of my players was just Snapchatting Lauren Ho earlier. Like they'll be like, oh, look what we're doing at practice. They're silly, and they have a good friendship. So it's funny because they do have that, and then they can very quickly turn on the competitive spirit once they get together. So it's almost like a sibling rivalry in some ways, and I think that's what makes it exciting.
Have you noticed that in the last 10 years that the talent level around here has grown and developed?
Oh, it's boomed for sure. I would say since right around 2012 for us, I started to notice that the girls were coming in with a different level of talent. And it's also the type of training that girls do and the type of badminton girls are playing now. It's less of the long, drawn-out points a lot of the time, and the badminton's become kind of a sport for powerhouse kind of girls, and there are some intense matches because of that. So not only the level, but the style of play has changed too.
Now we'll end with this. I know it's early in the season, but have you set goals yet for your team?
You have to have long-term goals because they have to have something like an end vision for why we come to practice and we do what we do every day. And I like to remind them of that if they're hanging out and not doing as hard of work as I think that they want to do for themselves. But otherwise, it's the individual goals I think that are important. Some girls' goals are to get on the lineup, and I think that's wonderful. And some girls' goals, like I have a senior who came out this year for the first time. Has never played a sport before, and her goal is just to be a good teammate and to contribute in some way. So they set individual goals and they give those to me, and I do my best to help remind them of those goals along the way. And then by the end of the season, if we do get through sectionals and when we get to state, it all changes. we reset our goals from there.
And then you get set the sights on the state trophy.
Yep.
Well, good luck this season. Thanks for stopping by and chatting.
Absolutely. Thank you.